Long before anyone speaks to a counselor, enrolls in a treatment program, or calls a school, they are usually sitting alone in a dark room with a glowing screen, asking questions they wouldn't dare say out loud. Yet when institutions talk about addiction, they rarely address the person in that room. They address the person they assume is in that room. Treatment centers, educators, and policymakers regularly fall into a predictable pattern. They start with the conclusion they want to reach, their specific program, policy, or campaign, and work backwards, crafting messages designed strictly to persuade. We call this the assumption trap. When a communication strategy is built on untested beliefs about what people need to hear, the broadcast misses the actual audience completely. We first noticed this pattern while working inside Local Finder, a marketing and technology agency. Our clients were spending vast resources trying to influence the decisions of prospective students and patients. But they were doing so without understanding the raw, unfiltered mindset those people possessed in the critical moments before they asked for help. It created a massive informational blind spot. Institutions were talking over the public ecosystem, entirely missing the opportunity to listen to it. The solution didn't come from a modern marketing playbook. It came from reading René Descartes' Discourse on the Method. The text offered a rigorous discipline: never accept an assumption just because it is widely repeated. We had to dig past accepted wisdom to find truth. We applied this philosophy directly to audience behavior. Instead of starting with large conclusions, we divided complex questions about public perception into smaller, independently observable parts. We stopped trying to persuade anyone. Instead, we shifted our entire operational strategy to pure observation. Applying a 17th century philosophical framework rewired how we conducted digital research. We began meeting people exactly where they were. We started mapping the places where people actually ask their questions. We tracked anonymous forums, search queries, podcasts, and emerging digital recovery communities. Our focus was on precise metrics. We watched which words people used, which fears gained momentum, and where public confusion actively increased. Local Finder uses this observational discipline across multiple industries, keeping most findings private to support client strategy. But the data surrounding addiction behaved differently. These conversations shaped how families evaluated treatment, how students viewed their own prospective careers, and how the public interpreted the nature of recovery. These findings were simply too important to human well-being to remain locked inside a private agency. So we gave this research a public home. We established ClearBound as an independent editorial institution dedicated entirely to publishing these findings. To do this responsibly, we maintain strict operational boundaries. We observe and explain the environment surrounding addiction. We do not diagnose individuals, accredit programs, recommend specific treatments, or endorse institutions. We publish this data primarily for the people on the front lines: addiction counselors, educators, researchers, journalists, and policymakers who benefit from seeing the broader cultural conversation surrounding their work. Our role is to support professional awareness. Our work is a reference, and it never replaces authoritative regulatory guidance, credentialing requirements, or licensed clinical judgment. We keep publishing because conversations shape decisions. The specific words a person encounters before entering treatment or before asking for help dictate what happens next. Our purpose is not to tell people what to think. We aren't here to launch campaigns, settle industry arguments, or win debates. We exist to help professionals see the public conversation clearly, because to truly support those impacted by addiction, you have to realize that understanding begins long before agreement.